Now, Congressman Jim Jordan, excuse me, is pointing the finger at Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who just last week filed a federal lawsuit against the Judiciary Committee led by Congressman Jordan. Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine is joining us this morning to weigh in on today's visit. So good morning, Borough President. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Hazel and Dan. Thanks for having me. Good morning.
So you wrote a letter to Congressman Jordan, signed by state and city officials, setting the record straight about crime. So will you be at this hearing today? And do you know if any other city leaders are planning to be there?
Well, a number of us are going to be outside of the hearing. We're going to be delivering a clear message that this is an absolute sham. You know, Hazel, the murder rate in Columbus, near where Jim Jordan lives, is triple what it is in New York City. He could have held the hearing there. He could have held the hearing in Jacksonville, where the murder rate is 3.5 times what it is here. You could have held it in Washington and just focused on the epidemic of gun violence and the need for gun safety legislation. He's doing it here because it's not really about public safety. It's about undermining the criminal prosecution of his friend, Donald Trump.
Yeah, you know, and Borough President, it's no secret that Congressman Jordan has the Manhattan DA really in his crosshairs and in his line of fire. And as you said, he's blaming his policies, the DA's policies, on the rise in crime, right? He's correlating the two with one another, saying that there's been this rise in crime since the DA took office. What is your message overall, besides the fact that you're pointing out that crime is up in other areas, about what's happening in New York City?
We have more work to do to ensure that everyone in New York City feels safe. I've been on the show many times and talked to you about the strategies that we're pursuing. But the truth is that many categories of crime are dropping in 2023. Murders, shootings, subway crime, all down so far in 2023. And let's have some context here. Of the 100 largest cities in America, New York City ranks 95th on violent crime per capita. Jim Jordan could have held his hearing in any of the other 94 cities, but he's not. That just proves this is a stunt.
Yeah, so what do you think is going to come out of today's hearing? Nothing?
A lot of slander and lies. That's what we've been hearing from this crowd for weeks. A lot of really disgusting targeting of DA Alvin Bragg, no doubt. I'm actually proud that he is standing up for the principle that no one is above the law, even a former president. And now Donald Trump will have his trial. That's the way the judicial system is supposed to work. It's really unprecedented that congressional resources would be used to interfere with a local prosecution. And I have to ask whether Jim Jordan is coordinating with Trump's team. I'd like to know that. That would be yet another unprecedented violation of the judicial process.
Yeah, we'll to be continued. Keep us posted on what exactly plays out today. But let's talk about some of the other big issues that are facing Manhattan, right? And specifically NYCHA. A 3-year-old this morning remains in critical condition after falling out of that window at the Chelsea houses yesterday. Now, we've reported on the disrepair in NYCHA buildings time and time again, not only in Manhattan, but all 5 boroughs. Do you think the fact that there's this lack of management with NYCHA is to blame here? And is your office tracking repairs that may or may not be happening?
I mean, this is just a horrific incident. Thank God the girl is expected to survive. Really miraculous from a 6-story fall. And of course, every window is supposed to have window guards.
Right.
And there was not in this window. And we need a full investigation to understand why that was, because that could be a systemic failure. And the big picture, Chelsea houses is in a terrible state of repair. This is a NYCHA complex around West 26th Street in that area, and it's not unique. We have NYCHA campuses all over Manhattan and New York City where the conditions are just horrific and unacceptable, and it can impact safety. And it's a failure at every level, city, state, and federal, to invest in the quality of this housing stock. And this horrific incident, which could have been even worse, is a painful reminder that we owe the residents of NYCHA more. We owe them better.
Yeah, and that's what's scary for a lot of the people that live there in NYCHA, that the city's budget hearings, I mean, they're underway right now, and Mayor Adams is calling for more cuts from city agencies all across the board. So, you know, could this impact NYCHA and other city services?
It might. I'm not sure that the cuts proposed to impact NYCHA. I'll have to confirm that. But look, New York City doesn't have the resources to make up what is a $40 billion backlog of capital repairs in NYCHA, the results of years of neglect in the budgets from Washington and to a lesser extent the state. We need federal help and we need state help. And we've been demanding this for years. And short of that, we have to do innovative funding ideas to find any way to repair these complexes. So this is going to be complicated unless Washington steps up. But with Republicans in control of the House of Representatives, it's going to be really tough. This is going to be a difficult fight.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, which brings us right into the segue of affordable housing. Now, we've talked about this time and time again, right? And there was a study that came out last week that talked about the new median income, and Manhattan is the priciest, right? I think it was like $4,200 was the median for an apartment, which is just insane. And these office conversions seem to be underway, but you and I have talked about this. It's not happening fast enough. So what's it going to take, and what's a realistic timeline to get more affordable housing on the map?
Well, we're still waiting for the March average rent, but you cited the median. The average rent in February in Manhattan was over $5,000 a month. That is a disaster for low-income families. It's even making it impossible for a bus driver or a teacher to live in Manhattan. That's not the future I want. We've got to double down on creating more housing, and especially affordable housing. And the older office buildings in Midtown, which are really emptying out, and let's be honest, they're not going to fill up anytime soon. That is an opportunity to convert to housing. But it's probably more complicated than most New Yorkers realize. Yeah. Think of these like really big floor plates from these like 1970s buildings. And we don't want them to convert and be purely luxury, because that's what happened downtown in the financial district after 9/11. We did have a lot of conversions, but all luxury. So we've got to have clear mandates and subsidy from the state. So these are financially viable for conversions, not just to luxury housing, but also affordable housing. We can do it, but the policies that are on the line right now are being negotiated in the state budget this week. And so I'm watching this really closely. I hope what comes out will give us a viable plan to convert Midtown office buildings for housing and affordable housing that we need.
All right. Well, we shall see. A lot more we could have talked to you about this morning, but unfortunately, we've run out of time. So make sure you come back and visit us. All right.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you.
Take care.